sense!
Rudy, you can't just sneak up on me like that!
But I've been following you around for hours!
Where did you come from?
Ladies, gentlemen, and monsties of all ages, it's just about time. We are only a few days out from the release of Monster Hunter Stories 3. And with the game so close, there are two things that I want to do right now. First, I'll give you some tips, either in terms of things that you can do in the trial version before the game releases, or things that you can do early in actual gameplay to help you out from known info. And while I won't be talking about any unreleased info in this vid, I do just want to quickly say, as someone who's been able to play the game early and who has gone through the journey already, this game is incredible. It's different from prior entries in the series in very interesting ways. It's just, in my opinion, the clearest vision of what the developers want the story series to be. It's the most immersive title, the most emotional and gripping story, an incredible selection of monsters on the roster, and some really fun and interesting advancements to how combat works in the game, with both the stamina system making skills separate from kinship, and also the Wyvern Soul gauge and trying to work around flinching and toppling monsters is just a lot of fun and adds a lot to the game too. Not to mention that the actual environments and the world, the traversal within that too, it's all just such a massive improvement. If you liked Stories 1 or Stories 2, you'll definitely enjoy Stories 3. And if you didn't enjoy the other two games or you haven't played them, there's still a good chance that you will enjoy Stories 3 if you're at all a fan of Monster Hunter as a franchise. It is a really fun experience, and I'm quite excited to see what else they might be adding to the game after its release as well. That said, into the actual tips and prep that you can do right now. The first one is very simply, play the trial version. Even if you aren't sure whether you want to buy the full game yet or not, the trial version is free, so there's nothing to stop you from giving it a go. As well, even if you want to save progressing the actual story for when the game is fully released, so you don't have to tease yourself ahead of time, it's still worth opening up the trial version for character creation at the very least, as that way you can set up your character, get them looking as perfect as possible, as good as you want them to look, and then be ready to jump into the game properly on release. But if you are willing to go even beyond that, there is quite a bit you can do in the trial version right now. I assume a decent amount of people watching this video have already at least tried it out at a basic level, but the trial version of the game is essentially the first few hours depending on how into exploring and monstie managing you get, and your save carries over to the full game. The main limitation is that you can't have more than 12 monsties, though technically you can have a fair few more because you can hatch any number of eggs even if you have 11 out of 12 stable slots full, so that's a bonus tip if you want to prep monsties from Azuria, the opening region. The other main limitation is that level 10 is the cap for the trial version of the game as well, which I would say is low enough that you would probably be beyond that just by doing the same early game section in the full released game. So if you care about leveling efficiency and you're someone who likes to scour the entire map for all of its secrets, it actually might be better for you to just play the full game without carrying over from trial, as you would be higher than level 10 at that point where the trial version caps story progress. Except those are the options there really. To my knowledge, there is no bonus that's only available if you transfer save data, so it's a simple choice to do if you want to play a bit now and get an early party sorted out, or do you want the natural progression of the game upon release, which also means likely higher level, the same progress point, and you don't actually miss out on anything for now. That said, one of the main things that you can do early is set up your early monster roster in the trial version if you want to, and the most control that you have over that is through the habitat restoration system. Habitat restoration lets you release monsties that you have hatched into the wild. This will then boost a monster's rating in that habitat. At higher ranks, the eggs you find in dens will have a higher chance of better genes and higher rarity in general, as well as unlocking specific egg powers from the region, which in this case is Azuria, where the egg powers are Battle Thirst, which gives you stamina recovery from winning a head-to-head or doing a double attack with a monstie as well, requiring speed, power, and fire to awaken it for the increased effect. But if your monster is S rank in the region that you got the egg from, you get the base version of this guaranteed. Hardiness is the A rank egg power, which gives you stamina recovery after taking damage, and with these both being stamina related, it's worth mentioning that stamina has essentially half of the old function of the kinship gauge in prior stories games, which is to say that skills used by your monstie consume stamina now, and skills used by your hunter consume stamina from the hunter. So more stamina means both more frequent and more costly skills can be used. It's very, very solid to actually generate more. Power resilience is the B rank egg power, which just reduces damage taken from power type attacks. Not a massive deal, but it's the B rank power, so that makes sense. You're not going to expect much from the bottom rank one. That said, these are quite good to have on monsties that you choose to use longer term. Beyond that, monsties at higher ranks will have a high chance of their egg being dual element. A monstie will always have its base element, including non-elemental, as that is one kind of element, technically in quotation marks in stories, but you can hatch it in a specific region, which can give it dual element. A dual element monstie gets a significant damage boost with damage of that element, so a Thunder Chotacabra, for example, does way more damage with a Thunder skill than a regular Chotacabra would. It does not change the damage of its basic attacks, but it does boost the damage of attacks that match that new type. On the flip side, outside of that, there is no benefit at all to doubling up the same element. No damage boost, and that means that you shouldn't feel shoehorned into doubling up the main element of a Monstie to min-max it for any reason, because it doesn't actually do that. It does not actually help. Instead, even if you don't want to change the element of your damage, you can do a dual element Monstie purely for the color change, if nothing else, if you just want it to look cool. The other thing worth mentioning is that dual element Monsties can produce egg skills. Egg skills are unique skills that are picked up by a Monstie dual elementing into a different type, or just at the same time as having it high rank in a region, and the specific skill that they get is tied to the element and the star rating of that Monstie. All 3-star Monsties would get the same skill when dual elementing into fire, for example, so you can use this to hunt down specific skills that you might want to transfer over as genes once we have access to the rite of channeling in the full game. As awkwardly, there is no rite of channeling in the trial version, so you can't do that right now, which is one of a few ways that they tried to sort of nerf players and cap their power to prevent them from getting too strong before release. But that said, even through that, people have legitimately killed everything in the demo as far as I'm aware, not just the 2 feral monsters that are way above player level cap of 10, but also, to say it without spoilers, just in case anyone watching this is trying to say somewhat blind, also including the Sleepy Cave Boy and even the Calamity Elder Dragon that exists in Azuria as well, which is level 75. So even with a minuscule level cap of 10, with minimal Monstie selection to choose from, minimal gear, and without rite of channeling available even, so you can't even build genes properly on a Monstie beyond just RNG when you hatch it, people have worked out ways to do anything that you can dream of so far, as long as you are willing to put in enough time and repetition for the RNG of the strategies to all line up just right, just long enough to actually succeed. That to say, the amount that you can do in the demo is entirely up to both your ambition and your patience. The main story of it is only a few hours in length, but you can get way more out of it by building up your team, and then even more than that if you want to do things like fighting all of those greater threats, the ferals, the cave monster, the Calamity Elder Dragon, and unlocking the things that they have hiding behind their completion as well. So play the demo if you want to, and play it as much as you want, because there's lots of stuff to do if you actually put your mind to it. But one extra tip here for the actual release of the game that I want to point out is for people that have done the trial versions, for people that have scoured the entirety of the first region already, there is still going to be a bit more stuff to find in the region, and that's the simplest way I can put that. Outside of that, the best preparations you can do are things like trying to work out your Monstie team for the full game. We have our lists of Monsties that were public knowledge before even reviews were out for the game, but now with reviews out, the Monsties known are even greater, so if you don't mind spoilers about what exists, just have a look around, work out what Monsties you are most excited to have on your journey with you. If you do care about spoilers, you're maybe in the wrong place right now, but in that case, I recommend avoiding as much stuff about the game as possible. Avoid reviews about it, even our own. Avoid even official trailers and stuff, because they have tons of monster reveals, and in my personal opinion, the best way to experience this is to go in as blind as possible, at least to begin with, and then if you want to know if you've missed anything or if there's more stuff around, then look at it after the fact. Beyond that, the last thing that you can really do to prepare is just make sure that you have an active save in any other Monster Hunter games that you own on the same platform as Stories 3. Monster Hunter Stories 3 will read your save datas at launch, and there is a bonus layered set for if you have save data from Monster Hunter Stories 1, as well as one for if you have save data from Monster Hunter Stories 2, then another separate layered set for if you have save data from Monster Hunter Rise, and a fourth layered set if you have save data from Monster Hunter Wilds. All of those are free to enjoy if you have those games as well, which is just a nice, lovely bonus for the game. Outside of that, you can also check out this Monstie personality quiz at this link on the screen. This is just a fun little quiz. You answer a few questions, and based on those answers, it will recommend a Monstie for you. And I feel like it could be fun to have a playthrough of the game where you just go with whatever the quiz gives you, like 5 times in a row, plus Rathalos, obviously, who you don't have a choice about because he is part of your life no matter what. So I hope you like Rathalos, because you have to. That just about does it for today, and everyone. My tips for things that you can do before Stories 3 is released to prepare for what is coming. And while I'm not the one doing the review video for the game on this channel, I still want to use this video as my opportunity to say that I adore Stories 3, and I think it absolutely deserves your attention and deserves a chance. I think it's the best that these Stories games have ever been. And yes, there's no multiplayer, there's no PvP or co-op that's been confirmed by reviews at this point, but the actual journey through this game is bigger and better than ever by such a massive amount. And as far as I'm concerned, for a Stories game, that journey through the progression of the game is far more important to the experience of what Stories is than any sort of post-game stuff would be. I want you to go into it with the knowledge of what the game actually is and what there actually is inside of it, but part of that is because I want people to be able to go into the game to experience it for what it is, for what there actually is there, because it's just a lovely journey, and that's it really. I hope you've all enjoyed the video, and I wish you all the best when you actually get to jump into the game on full release. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.